November 13th, 2018, 9:47 a.m. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez woke up to the news that would define her first year in Congress. Amazon, the richest company in the world, was coming to New York, to her district, to Queens, to Long Island City. 25,000 jobs, they said. Maybe 40,000. High-paying. Tech jobs. The future. New York had won. Beat out 237 other cities. The biggest economic development deal in American history. Governor Andrew Cuomo called it the deal of the century. Mayor Bill de Blasio said it would transform New York. Business leaders celebrated. Real estate developers popped champagne. The stock market cheered. And AOC, newly elected just a week earlier, looked at the deal and thought one thing. This is a scam. The deal that broke New York. Let's be clear about what Amazon wanted. Not just land. Not just permits. Not just infrastructure. Amazon wanted $3 billion. $3 billion. In tax breaks. In subsidies. In corporate welfare. For Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world, worth $150 billion at the time. He wanted New York taxpayers to pay him to bring jobs to New York. The math was insane. $27 billion in tax revenue over 25 years, they promised. But $3 billion up front. Given away. No questions asked. That's $120,000 per job. Per promised job. Not guaranteed job. If you hire someone and pay them $150,000 a year, you're spending $120,000 just to get them hired. That was the deal. And New York State said, yes, absolutely. Thank you, Jeff Bezos. Here's your money. AOC said, are you insane? The freshman congresswoman versus the richest man alive. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was 29 years old. Just elected. Hadn't even been sworn in yet. Jeff Bezos was 54. Owned Amazon, The Washington Post, half the internet, and wanted to own Queens. It wasn't a fair fight, but she didn't care. November 26, 2018. She tweeted, Amazon is a billion-dollar company. The idea that it will receive hundreds of millions of dollars in tax breaks at a time when our subway is crumbling and our communities need more investment, not less, is extremely concerning to residents here. The backlash was immediate. Business leaders, she doesn't understand economics. Real estate developers, she's going to ruin New York. Even fellow Democrats, she needs to shut up. This is good for the city. But AOC didn't shut up. She doubled down. Now what I don't want is for our public funds to be funding freebie helipads for Amazon and robber baron billionaires. All while NYCHA and public schools go underfunded and mom and pops get nowhere near that kind of a break. Freebie helipads. She wasn't exaggerating. The deal included helipad infrastructure for executives to fly over traffic while the subway crumbled below. The campaign to kill Amazon. December 2018 through February 2019 was war. On one side, Amazon, the New York governor, the mayor, every business group, the Chamber of Commerce, real estate moguls, mainstream Democrats, the media establishment. On the other, AOC, a few local activists, community groups, and social media. David versus Goliath doesn't cover it. David had a sling. AOC had a Twitter account and a Democratic Socialist membership card. But she fought like hell. Town halls, protests, press conferences, tweet storms. Why are we giving $3 billion to the richest man in the world while our subways don't work? Why are we subsidizing Jeff Bezos while public schools are underfunded? Why does Amazon pay $0 in federal taxes and then demand billions from us? That last one hit hard, because it was true. Amazon had paid zero federal income tax in 2018, despite $11 billion in profits. Zero for schools, zero for firefighters, zero for infrastructure, zero for healthcare, and now they wanted $3 billion from New York. The audacity was breathtaking. The turning point, January 30th, 2019. Amazon held a public hearing. It was supposed to be a formality, a PR exercise, get community input, pretend to listen, move forward. Instead, it was a massacre. Protesters flooded the room, chanting, booing, demanding answers. How many jobs for local residents? How will you prevent displacement? Why do you need $3 billion? Amazon executives stumbled, fumbled, couldn't answer, because they didn't have good answers. The jobs weren't guaranteed for locals. Most would go to transplants, tech workers from California, Seattle, Boston, The $3 billion wasn't tied to performance. Amazon could take the money and deliver nothing. No penalty. And displacement? Housing costs would skyrocket. Local residents would be priced out of their own neighborhoods. AOC watched the hearing, saw Amazon squirm, smelled blood in the water, and she went for the kill. February 14, 2019. Valentine's Day Massacre. Amazon released a statement. Short, brutal, final. After much thought and deliberation, we've decided not to move forward with our plans to build a headquarters for Amazon in Long Island City, Queens. They blamed a number of state and local politicians who made it clear that they oppose our presence. Translation: AOC and her allies made this impossible. We're out. New York exploded. Governor Andrew Cuomo, furious. A small group of politicians put their own narrow political interests above their community. He specifically blamed state senators and activists. But everyone knew who he really meant. AOC, Mayor Bill de Blasio. We gave Amazon the opportunity of a lifetime, and they couldn't handle the heat. Business leaders were apoplectic. 25,000 jobs. Gone. 30 billion in economic activity. Gone. The deal of the century. Destroyed by a socialist bartender. The New York Post ran a front page. AOC's Amazon antagonism costs NYC 25K jobs. Fox News dedicated entire segments to her. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez just cost New York 25,000 jobs. This is what socialism looks like. Even some Democrats were furious. She doesn't understand how the real world works. She's too radical, too extreme, too naive. And AOC, she tweeted, "Today was the day a group of dedicated, everyday New Yorkers and their neighbors defeated Amazon's corporate greed, its worker exploitation, and the power of the richest man in the world." Victory. The backlash was nuclear. Within 48 hours, a billboard appeared in Times Square. Giant. Impossible to miss. 25,000 lost jobs. $4 billion in lost wages. $12 billion in lost economic activity. Thanks for nothing, AOC. Paid for by the Job Creators Network, a conservative business group. It stayed up for weeks. Right in the heart of Manhattan. A constant reminder of what she'd done. Her approval ratings in New York dropped. A poll showed 58% of New Yorkers opposed Amazon leaving. Another poll, 56% blamed local politicians, not Amazon. She was becoming toxic. The jobs killer. The radical who didn't care about working people. Even unions split. Some supported Amazon. Those were good union jobs. Others supported AOC. Amazon is anti-union. Those jobs were a lie. The Jamie Dimon pile-on. March 2019. Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan Chase, was asked about the Amazon deal. "Of course they made a mistake," he said. Blunt. Dismissive. Those 25,000 jobs would have created another 75,000 outside of that. People who prepare meals, clean floors, engineers, marketing, lawyers, accountants. The whole ecosystem. 100,000 total jobs. Gone. This is what happens when politicians don't understand economics, Dimon added. Translation: AOC is an idiot. The pile-on continued for months. Every business leader, every CEO, every mainstream Democrat. She killed jobs. She doesn't understand economics. She's too radical for New York. Even her own district was split. Some residents, "Thank you for protecting us from gentrification." Others, "I needed one of those jobs." What were you thinking? The defense. AOC fought back. Hard. Town halls. Interviews. More tweets. Amazon wanted $3 billion with no accountability. If they didn't deliver those jobs, there was no penalty. It was a blank check to the richest man alive. We can create 25,000 jobs without giving away billions to Jeff Bezos. The Green New Deal will create jobs. Infrastructure investment will create jobs. We don't need to bribe billionaires. Those jobs weren't for our community anyway. They were for tech workers making $150,000 a year who would price us out of our own neighborhoods. That's not economic development. That's displacement. Her base loved it. The socialist left cheered. She stood up to Amazon. She protected the community. She said no to corporate welfare. But mainstream America? They thought she was crazy. 25,000 jobs. Gone. Because of one freshman congresswoman who thought she knew better than everyone else. December 2019. The twist. 10 months after Amazon pulled out, news broke. Amazon was opening an office in Manhattan. 1,500 jobs. No subsidies. No tax breaks. No helipads. Just renting office space. Bringing jobs. Because they needed a New York presence anyway. AOC went nuclear on Twitter. Won't you look at that? Amazon is coming to NYC anyway. Without requiring the public to finance shady deals, helipad handouts for Jeff Bezos, and OMG. Without corporate giveaways. We were proven right. The backlash was instant. 1,500 jobs is not 25,000 jobs. You're celebrating a 94% loss in jobs. This proves you were wrong. They would have brought 25,000 and still needed the Manhattan office. Job Creators Network put up another Times Square billboard. AOC gets a participation trophy. 1,500 Amazon jobs is not 25,000. Even supporters were confused. Wait, is she saying 1,500 jobs proves her right about killing 25,000? The math doesn't math. But AOC didn't care. She'd won the narrative war with her base. We stopped corporate welfare. We protected the community. We were right. The 2020 primary challenge. Michelle Caruso Cabrera, a CNBC anchor, moderate Democrat, decided to primary AOC. Her entire campaign was built on one issue, Amazon. If she really cared about you, she wouldn't have driven away 25,000 jobs. Campaign ads, mailers, debates. AOC cost us jobs. I'll bring them back. It was a bet that Queens residents cared more about jobs than ideology. The bet failed. AOC crushed her, 73% to 19%. Because by mid-2020, the narrative had shifted. COVID hit. Amazon's warehouse workers were treated terribly, denied bathroom breaks, fired for unionizing, worked to death during the pandemic. Suddenly, AOC's warnings looked prescient. I told you Amazon exploits workers. I told you they don't care about communities. I was right. The long shadow. Even today, 5 years later, the Amazon fight defines AOC. To supporters, she stood up to the richest man alive and won. To critics, she cost New York 25,000 jobs and never apologized. 2023, Amazon paused construction on its Virginia HQ2, the one that actually happened. Layoffs, cutbacks. AOC tweeted, "Remember when everyone was mad about the Amazon HQ2 deal I opposed? Now they've stopped construction in Virginia anyway. We were right." Critics, Virginia still got thousands of jobs New York didn't. You're still wrong. The argument never ends. The truth. Here's what actually happened. Amazon wanted $3 billion in subsidies for 25,000 promised jobs. AOC said no. Fought it. Made it politically toxic. Amazon pulled out. Took their jobs to Virginia. New York lost the jobs, but saved $3 billion. Later, Amazon came back anyway, with 1,500 jobs. No subsidies. Proving what exactly? AOC says, they came anyway. We didn't need to pay them. Critics say, 1,500 is not 25,000. You cost us 23,500 jobs. Who's right? Both. Neither. It depends on what you value. If you value jobs above all, AOC was catastrophically wrong. If you value preventing corporate welfare, AOC was heroically right. If you believe those jobs would have displaced locals, AOC protected the community. If you believe those jobs would have lifted locals, AOC betrayed them. There's no objective answer, just ideology. And that's what makes the story so perfect. The lesson: Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez walked into Congress and immediately picked a fight with Amazon. Not a smart fight, not a strategic fight, not a fight she could definitely win, but a fight based on principle. Billionaires shouldn't get handouts while our subways crumble. And she won. Kind of. Maybe. Depending on how you measure. She lost 25,000 jobs. But she saved $3 billion. She became the jobs killer, but also the one who stood up to Bezos. She was vilified by the establishment, but worshipped by her base. And 5 years later, we're still arguing about whether she was right. That's the AOC brand. Make the fight. Take the heat. Let history decide. February 14th, 2019, Amazon pulled out of New York. That day, AOC became either a hero or a villain. There's no middle ground. And she wouldn't want one anyway. Because moderation, to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, is just another word for surrender. She chose the fight. lost 25,000 jobs, saved $3 billion, and never apologized for either. The human cost. But here's what the numbers don't show. Maria Rodriguez lived 3 blocks from the proposed Amazon site. Single mother, 2 kids, working 2 jobs to make rent. She'd heard about the Amazon jobs. $150,000 salaries, benefits, healthcare, stability. She dreamed about applying. Maybe customer service, maybe logistics, something, anything better than her current situation. February 14th, 2019, she heard Amazon pulled out. She cried, not from political ideology, from desperation. That job could have changed her life, and it was gone. Because some congresswoman from the Bronx said it was corporate welfare. Maria's story never made it to the news, but it was real, and there were thousands like her. The other side. Marcus Thompson lived in the same neighborhood, born and raised, watched his community get priced out, block by block, year by year. When he heard Amazon was coming, he panicked. 25,000 tech workers making $150K? In Queens, his rent would double. His landlord would sell. His neighbors would be replaced by Amazon employees who could afford the new prices. He joined the protests, stood with AOC, fought Amazon. February 14th, 2019, he heard Amazon pulled out. He cheered. His community was safe. For now, Marcus's story never made the news either, but it was just as real. 2 people, same neighborhood, same Amazon announcement, completely opposite reactions. That's what AOC was navigating. The governor's revenge. Andrew Cuomo didn't forget. March 2019. He gave an interview. If the state Senate and local activists hadn't created this climate of hostility, we'd have 25,000 jobs right now. He didn't name AOC. He didn't have to. April 2019. Budget negotiations. Cuomo's team quietly punished progressive legislators who'd opposed Amazon, cut their pet projects, delayed their priorities. Message: crossed the governor on economic development, pay the price. AOC was in Congress, not state legislature. He couldn't touch her directly, but he could make her toxic to work with. And he did. For 2 years, Cuomo's administration treated AOC like she had the plague. No cooperation, no joint events, no photo ops. She'd embarrassed him on the national stage. He'd make sure she remembered it. The congressional hearing that changed nothing. May 2019. House Financial Services Committee. AOC was now a member. They held a hearing on corporate subsidies and economic development. She grilled witnesses for 2 hours. How do we justify giving billions to profitable corporations while infrastructure crumbles? What accountability exists when companies take subsidies and don't deliver jobs? Why do billionaires get handouts while small businesses struggle? The answers were terrible, evasive, corporate speak. One CEO actually said, "These incentives are necessary to compete with other states." AOC. So we're in a race to the bottom? Whoever gives away the most public money wins. CEO. That's one way to look at it. AOC. It's the only honest way to look at it. The hearing got 2 million views on YouTube. Changed exactly 0 policies. Because Congress talks, corporations act, and money always wins. Except that one time in Queens when it didn't. The alternative timeline. Let's imagine Amazon had come to Queens. 2019, construction starts. Cranes everywhere. Local businesses excited. 2020, COVID hits. Amazon puts construction on hold. Layoffs begin. 2021, headquarters 50% complete. Only 12,000 jobs so far, not 25,000. 2022, rents in Long Island City up 60%. Local residents displaced. 2023, Amazon demands more subsidies to finish construction. Economic conditions have changed. 2024, headquarters complete. Final job count, 18,000, not 25,000. No penalties for missing targets. Would AOC have been vindicated? Would critics apologize? We'll never know, because she killed it before it started. The Bezos factor. Jeff Bezos never commented publicly on AOC. Not once. Not ever. When asked about the Amazon NYC pullout, his spokespeople gave corporate statements. Nothing personal, but people around him told reporters. He was furious. Not at losing New York. Amazon didn't need New York. At being beaten by a 29-year-old bartender-turned-congresswoman who made him look like the villain. Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world, the conqueror of retail, the owner of space rockets, defeated by someone who couldn't even afford to rent in DC when she was first elected. That burned. And Bezos doesn't forget. 2020, The Washington Post, owned by Bezos, ran multiple opinion pieces criticizing AOC's economic policies. Coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe the richest man in the world holds grudges. The 2021 reckoning. 2 years after Amazon left, New York's economy was devastated by COVID. Unemployment, 20%. Small businesses closing. Revenue collapsing. Critics returned with a vengeance. If we had those 25,000 Amazon jobs, we'd be better off right now. AOC shot back. You mean the Amazon jobs that would have been laid off during COVID like the other 18,000 Amazon employees nationwide? Because Amazon had laid off thousands during the pandemic. The HQ2 jobs wouldn't have been immune. But the argument never ends. Because both sides are arguing from hypotheticals. The Town Hall Confrontation. April 2021. AOC held a town hall in Queens. A man stood up, middle-aged, visibly angry. I lost my job in 2020. My savings are gone. My family is struggling. If Amazon was here, I could have applied for work. But you took that away from us. What? The room went silent. AOC took a breath. I understand your pain. I do. But those Amazon jobs weren't guaranteed to go to local residents. They had no accountability measures. And the $3 billion in subsidies would have meant $3 billion less for our schools, our subways, our community programs. But I could have tried, the man shouted. At least I would have had a chance. AOC had no response to that. Because he was right. Maybe he wouldn't have gotten the job, but he would have had a chance. And she'd taken that away. The man sat down, still angry. AOC moved to the next question. But that moment haunted her. Because it was the human cost of principle. The betrayal within. Not all progressives supported AOC's Amazon stance. Some unions were furious. Construction unions especially. That project would have employed thousands of our members. She talks about workers, but killed worker jobs. The split was real. And it hurt. Because AOC genuinely believes she's fighting for workers. But these workers wanted the Amazon jobs. Subsidies and all. Who's right? The socialist congresswoman or the union workers? That's the kind of question that doesn't have easy answers. The mythology. By 2022, the Amazon fight had become mythology. To the left, AOC stood up to corporate greed and won. A modern David versus Goliath. To the right, AOC killed 25,000 jobs and destroyed New York's economy. A cautionary tale of socialist stupidity. The truth was messier. More complicated. Less satisfying. She opposed a deal she thought was bad. Amazon left. Jobs were lost. Money was saved. Some people were protected from displacement. Others lost opportunities for employment. It's possible she was both right and wrong. But America doesn't do nuance. So pick a side. The 2024 election cycle. Every Republican running for office in New York used the same attack ad. AOC killed 25,000 jobs. Vote for me. I'll bring them back. It was lazy. It was effective. It was everywhere. AOC's response. I'm still winning elections, aren't I? Because she was. 70+% every time. Her district didn't blame her for Amazon. Or if they did, they blamed her less than they appreciated everything else she'd done. That's the power of constituent service. You can kill 25,000 hypothetical jobs and still get reelected if you deliver on everything else. The final irony. 2024. Amazon is still one of the biggest employers in New York City. Warehouses, delivery drivers, offices, over 20,000 jobs. But not the headquarters. Not the 25,000 high-paying tech jobs. Those went to Virginia, where politicians didn't ask questions, didn't demand accountability, just handed over the money. And Virginia got exactly what AOC predicted. Construction delays, layoffs, cutbacks. In 2023, Amazon paused HQ2 construction in Virginia indefinitely. Those guaranteed jobs? Not so guaranteed after all. AOC tweeted, I'll never get an apology. But we were right. Critics, Virginia still got jobs you didn't. And round we go. The legacy. 5 years later, here's what we know. New York saved $3 billion by not subsidizing Amazon. New York lost 25,000 potential jobs. Amazon came to NYC anyway for 1,500 jobs without subsidies. Virginia got Amazon HQ2, but it's incomplete and possibly scrapped. Jeff Bezos is still the richest man alive and doesn't care about any of this. Andrew Cuomo resigned in disgrace over sexual harassment allegations unrelated to Amazon. And AOC? She's still in Congress, still fighting corporations, still refusing to apologize, still arguing about whether principle or pragmatism matters more, still dividing America into she's a hero and she's a disaster. There's no middle ground. Before AOC, politicians competed to give corporations bigger subsidies. The bigger the giveaway, the bigger the win. After AOC, politicians have to justify why billionaires need handouts. The conversation changed. That's power. Even if it costs 25,000 jobs. Even if she'll never live it down. Even if every opponent, every primary challenger, every critic brings it up forever. She made her choice. Principle over pragmatism. And America is still deciding if that makes her a hero or a fool. Maybe both. Maybe neither. Maybe it just makes her Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The 29-year-old bartender who said no to the richest man in the world. Lost 25,000 jobs. Saved $3 billion. Changed the conversation about corporate welfare forever. And never, not once, apologized for any of it. February 14th, 2019. The day she became either a legend or a cautionary tale, depending on who you ask.